Material mind is about duality, good,
Mm.
bad, right, wrong, me, you. It's this dualistic physical world, right? And so spirit mind is not that. It's a third perspective. So it's
Mm.
not competing at all with material mind. In fact, the kind of the unusual goal of this teaching, this practice is to let your material mind, that's usually kind of going out to the extremes and getting like, I'm excited, or things are terrible. It's like it loves getting out to the extremes, the drama, is to let it kind of calm down and go to the middle. Like all of a sudden, ooh, there's a different dimension here. There's actually something up there I didn't notice before.
How are you, Jeffrey?
Oh, I'm doing great. Really nice to be here, and I'm excited to connect with you. We're gonna have fun.
Me too. I'm truly, truly, truly humbled to be connected with you, to have you on Louder and part of Exhale. Honestly, I've been taking your duality course for over 5 years ago now. I've took it 3 times. I'm a great fan of your teachings and your modalities and the way you deliver the message of healing across, of self-healing, and the differentiation between our the strength of our mind. So, welcome to Louder, Jeffrey, and where we will be exploring the journey within. And I'd like to start, Jeffrey, with what does the journey within mean to you?
For me, uh, it's kind of where everything begins, because it's really easy for us, since we have these physical bodies and we can see other people that look separate from us and are physically separate. It's really easy to focus on the outside and to let that be kind of our kind of our guide. What do people think about me? What do I look like? What are other people doing that I might want to do? It's really easy for that to kind of consume us, especially now with social media and kind of the age we live in. And unfortunately, that doesn't really lead to much happiness. And so for me, the turning within is really about fulfillment. So when I learn about myself, what really makes me tick? What are my true desires? What are my passions and joys? That's when I can start achieving fulfillment. If I'm just
Mm.
chasing stuff outside, even if I'm very successful at it, it's very hard for that to actually feel fulfilling.
And how did Jeffrey start his journey within? What made you reach to where you are today?
For me, I started the journey because I was having experiences I couldn't explain. So it was back when I was in college. I was getting my degrees in computer science and math, and I was starting to have these intuitive experiences where I would see light around somebody, or uh, have a shared dreaming experience. So for me, it was just curiosity. I was like, wow, I'm having these, some kind of superpowers waking up here. And I want to know more. That, like, I didn't know this stuff was possible. I thought it was just maybe in some books or something somebody else could do. And so that's what really got me excited about going within, is like I wanted to know about more about intuition. I wanted to know more about the connection that we have with each other across time and space.
Mm. And at the time, what did you once believe defined your worth, but now, as you journeyed within, see was only an illusion?
So at that point, I was still really focused on the material world, and I was still focused a lot on the outside. So do people accept me? Do people like me? Am I, do I have the like cool sunglasses? Do I, what I mean? Like, do I fit in, or do I stick out, or whatever the moment was felt like was calling for? I think that's normal. There's actually nothing wrong with being interested in connecting with people and having people like you and so on. Um, but if it's not authentic, if I'm trying to be somebody else to be liked, that's where we get in trouble. It's really important to know ourselves. If I really know myself and I can be authentically be myself, then I will be naturally connecting with the people that resonate with me. And I don't, you don't really have to fake it or try to be somebody that you're not.
And soon after, the illusions kind of broke from your belief system.
It's a kind of gradual. I think personal growth takes time. I imagine my entire life I'll be changing and growing. You know, but there was a time right at the very beginning where uh, kind of the illusion went away. So this,
Mm.
I had this idea up until that point that everything I believed was true, and when I started having experiences that didn't fit that belief system, I was kind of forced to ask myself that question, like, well, one of these things is insane. Is it my beliefs or my experiences? Which one's not true? And I went for my experiences are true because I started asking, where did these beliefs actually come from? Why
Mm.
do I believe what I believe? And I couldn't, for the most part, come up with concrete answers. It was something I read, somebody told me. I didn't have experiences to back up most of my beliefs. And to me, the scientist in me thought, this is a problem. If I don't really have any data, I just have a bunch of people telling me stuff. I want to go out and explore on my own. I want to just open myself up to having experiences and then let that guide me. Let my experience be kind of the arbiter of what's happening, what's real, my beliefs.
Discussing beliefs, what do you think the belief system cost you during that time that today you would see that it cost you something, whether it was in relationships, in love, in work, in money? Belief systems set us back,
Yeah.
especially when they are taught, taken from someone, learned. So, what do you believe today with where you are today? It had cost you at the time.
Mhm. Well, there's so many things. I mean, the belief that success is going to lead to fulfillment.
Mm.
That was a big one that I carried for a long time. Where it's like if I just uh, get that dream job, and then I succeed at that certain level, and then I make that amount of money, and then I reach that many people, and there's always some goal that I thought if I can achieve that success, suddenly I'll feel fulfilled. And that one took a very long time to change because it turns out that it was actually meeting my wife Hisami is when that started to shift. We've been together 15 years. She's not on the same kind of journey as me of like thinking a lot and wanting to do a lot of things. She's very naturally in the moment and very much in spirit mind, as she calls it, and she's not concerned so much with the stories and beliefs of herself or and others. Like that's just that the world of beliefs isn't really hers. She
Mm.
just lives in the what she calls the real world. So I started noticing, hanging out with her, a little time I spent in the present moment. I was always chasing the future thing. What's
Mm.
next? What's the next expansion? How can I grow? How can I achieve more? How can I be more spiritual, more enlightened? Whatever the goal was in the moment, rather than just saying, how can I just really enjoy being here and really connecting, with my wife and, and enjoying. And I'll give you a funny story. I was out going for a walk this week with my dog, and the last week has been one of being very present in the moment. And as I was walking him, I noticed things I'd never seen, even though I've lived in the same place almost 15 years. And I'm walking him, I'm like, wow, that tree right there that's inside that hallway at that apartment, that's like so beautiful. It feels like I'm out in the Mediterranean. And it's like, I mean, I just felt so calm and peaceful, and I was appreciating like somebody put it there, and I was enjoying it. And at some point, I realized, oh, this is not the experience I've had most times walking the dog. Most times, I'm thinking about the thing I would rather be doing or think I should be doing, the work that needs to get done. And I, we still walk, but it's like sort of me servicing the dog so that he'll do his business outside instead of inside. It's not.
Mm. Mm.
It's like I can't believe I've missed out on years worth of enjoyment and like real beauty and love because I wasn't here, even for a simple thing like walking the dog. And it felt good to just notice that things are changing. Yeah.
I think that is the ultimate life satisfaction for any human being, to be fully present in the moment. But yet we are almost obsessed, the hustle and the run and the next big thing, and the next creative idea, or and your mind is constantly creating something.
Yeah.
and that is what we are working on. I believe to kind of settle down the mind and have it be right here, right now. I want to talk about one of humanity's deepest obsessions, which is money. What does money mean to Jeffrey?
Okay, yeah, that's a fun one. So for me, and I don't know what it means to everybody else, but for me, money is simple. So money is just the universe or the divine or God bringing back. Uh, it's like a return on investment. So if I'm
Mm.
helping people, then that's going to come back to me. And uh, I say that because that's been my experience. If I focus on how can I make money, that certainly you can find ways I can find ways to do that, but the biggest results have always come when I didn't think about that at all. I just said,
Mm.
here's an opportunity to help some people. How could, like, what is the most that I can show up? What's the most that I can give? How can, in
Mm.
this moment, I help as much as I can? And when I do that, I feel good. I'm really excited because I'm motivated to help people. I love that. And
Mm.
when I do that, always money comes back to me. So to me, energetically, money is something coming back. It's not something I have to plan or
Chase.
chase or look after, or it's just a natural return for providing value to others.
And how did you when did you realize money couldn't give you the security or freedom you were chasing with the mindset of chasing? Because currently I believe humanity chases money rather than allows money to be attracted to them. When did you realize that it's not giving you the security or freedom
Yeah,
that we believe it gives us?
probably the first time was around maybe 30. I was 15 years into my software engineering career, and it was great. I was had a great job, was making really good money. I had a nice car and a nice house and all the toys, and I was, kind of successful in all the ways that I had wanted to be. I, and I was really surprised because when I got there, what I noticed was something is missing. Not just something, but it's like everything is missing. I go out with my friends in the evening. I remember going out and we're sitting at a restaurant and eating, and I said, I don't get it, Ken. Like, what do people do in their evenings? Like, is this it? And he's like, what do you mean? I don't understand. I'm like, this is it. This is like, I sit here and I eat with my friends. Maybe I drink a beer or something, and like, that's this is it. Like, I can't believe it. Like, and I was really struggling with why is it if I did all the things I thought I was supposed to do. In the U.S. we call it the American dream, but it's kind of everybody has similar success dreams. So if I achieved that, why is it so hard to like leave my beautiful house, drive my beautiful car to my easy, successful job where I'm making money and not working too hard? Why is that terrible? Because there's nothing around me. Like when I look at the physical world, there's nothing around me that's wrong. And the reason was it had nothing to do with me. I wasn't helping anybody. Like
Mm.
the software I was writing, the group I was with, 90% of it never got installed, never got used. I just
Mm.
realized, even though we're talking about things in meetings as if they're the most important thing in the world and they're kind of life or death, actually don't mean anything.
Yeah.
and, and it's kind of that's when it really struck me. Like, oh, I need to get out and do something different. That was didn't feel bad. That felt good. It was like,
Mm.
oh, relief. I know, and I knew it intuitively. I'm like, it's going to be about 2 years before things change, and I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens. Um,
And here you are.
yeah, I didn't do any planning to get out, but everything came into alignment, and within 2 years, I was off in a completely different career. So
And do you believe that in realization, does everything shift? I mean, we don't really have to put the effort and make the change. We just need to realize what this change needs to be, and then everything starts puzzling up.
that's how my life has been. Yeah, I like to think of it like it's kind of like imagine an analogy where I'm like throwing a football to myself. Like you've got to like, put it out there. Like, oh wow, I'm going to make a change. So I said yes to this energy of
Mhm.
making a change. I didn't actually know what it was going to be, where it was going to go, how it would happen. I had some ideas, but that was it. The main important thing was, though, to know the timing, to know that it's going to take about 2 years. Okay, I
Mhm.
don't need to worry about it now. Then just focus on being as happy as I can, being in the moment with what I'm doing, and with that comfortable feeling that this isn't forever.
Got you.
And then yeah, just like you said, all the pieces came into play, but it's not magic. It's not like you cannot take any action. So the action that had to be taken was, at some point I noticed that the ball is coming in and I still have to catch it, right? So
Yeah,
I have to, like, when the opportunity comes, I have to
you
say,
need to realize it.
this is that thing I asked for that was offered to me, the divine like, said, hey, you want this? And I said, yes. And then now it's coming in. I have to step in. That's very scary, even when it's exactly what we want. It's very,
Yeah.
very hard to let go of. Like in that case, I had this nice job and money, and the money was paying for the house, for the mortgage on the house, and I had to live in the house because it was close to the job, and it like seemed like it was all, what had to be happening. I couldn't see a way out of it. Um, so it was scary. But a friend of mine, Andy, she said, well, think of it this way: if just try it out, try something else for a year. And if you're not happy, you can always go back. You can always buy a house you can't afford, get a job you don't like, and then work like crazy and be unhappy. I was like,
Wow.
well, when you put it that way, it sounds like I should definitely try it.
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like the catching that ball and realizing this is the opportunity and this is the pivot of my choices. So every choice I make is going to be a pivot, a pivot, a pivot into the next life that I seek, or maybe not seek, but hope to have filled with meaning. And I think what we struggle with because of how life's moving so fast is that how can we see this as the opportunity rather than just the ball coming through? You got me?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
maybe before we explain that, I just wanted to close on how can we reframe money, not as control, but as energy that we can flow with instead of chase.
So yeah, with money, the trick is realizing that money is energy.
Mm.
So most people uh, still treat money as if it's an object, using kind of the like object level accounting, I would call it, for money. So it's like if I have $10 and I buy something for $2, then I've only got eight left. So most people are
Mm.
thinking of money like objects like this. But money is actually energy. And so it's more like, the analogy I like to use is it's more like music now. So when it used to be that you went to the store and you bought a tape or a CD, and same thing, if there were 10 on the shelf, you bought two, there were only eight left. It was, very scarcity based. That doesn't happen anymore. So now you go and you want to buy a CD, you just get on your phone or whatever and you just buy it. And when you take it, and before, when you took it, there was one less. Now you take it, there's one more. Every time you
Mm.
take one, there's one more. 100 people take one, there's 100 more. Okay, well, this is clearly not. We're not talking about objects anymore. We're talking about, this is how energy works. Energy works from the space of abundance, and
Mm.
money hasn't been physical for decades. It's not even tied to physical gold or anything in most places anymore. We're all based on fiat currency, right?
Mm.
It's just energy. It's just numbers. And so when you realize that, you don't have to think in terms of scarcity anymore. You don't have to worry that there's not going to be enough, or this idea that if, for me to get my financial needs and take care of my family, I might have to take a little bit away from somebody else or put somebody else at a disadvantage. That's just not true anymore. There's enough money. It's about how fast money flows, not about how it accumulates. It's not like if you just count what's in the bank, it's how much motion times what's the actual amount that's available. And money flows very fast now. So So it's that just switching your mind and understanding that it's not this whole idea of scarcity and competition doesn't
Mm.
apply to money. Uh, doesn't apply to very much anymore, actually. Almost everything's moving into the digital and into the energy landscape.
And what are your thoughts about the digital and the AI age?
I'm super excited about AI. My background's computer science. I've always been an early adopter of technologies, and so I'm really pro AI. I love. I work with ChatGPT mostly, and what I've noticed is that all the big sort of technology revolutions I've seen always start with consciousness changing. So first, our consciousness changes. There's something that somebody has an idea for a different way to connect or a different way to do something, and as our consciousness changes, technology comes in to meet that need.
Mm.
A few early adopters kind of pick it up, like with the early cell phones, they were really like big and clunky, and a few people pick it up, and but eventually, after a few generations, iterations, suddenly the technology is everywhere. Everybody's got a smartphone now, and it's Wi-Fi is everywhere, and it's or almost there. And so the same thing is happening with AI right now. So the big change we're going through energetically or consciousness wise is actually what you mentioned at the very beginning. So this obsessive like sort of focus on the outside world, what we call the material mind and the spirit mind teaching my wife and I do. Uh, so that analytical part of you that we call material mind is um, is focused is focused like that on the outside world, and it's actually the way the energy is set on the planet right now. Uh, that is getting a lot of pressure on it. So
Mm.
for any of you listening, if you've noticed that you're not as sharp as before, it's hard to stay focused. The things you used to be so successful at were easy for you. Maybe take a little more effort, or you can't get around to them, or you don't want to do them, or like all these things that feel like, okay, I'm kind of losing my edge mentally. Like, don't worry. That's by design, and it's happening to everybody. Of course, almost all of us are resisting it because it's uncomfortable, and we think our mind
Mm.
makes us successful and attractive and everything. But that's just what's happening. So this new energy on the planet is pushing us all uh, out of this space of scarcity and just kind of this dualistic nature of the good and bad and right and wrong and competition. Is Right now we're being pushed to evolve into a space of unity and abundance. And so AI is coming at a perfect time to assist us with that. So AI, when I start using it, it's like, wow, this is actually the perfect material mind. It like remembers everything, it knows everything, it's well spoken. And unlike people, it doesn't have an ego, right? So it's fully creative, but it doesn't have emotions. Perfect timing because we're all in a space where uh, that part of us, that analytical part of us, is getting kind of stomped down right now energetically.
Mm.
So being able to offload that is actually going to free us up to enjoy being
Mm.
like present in the moment, being humans. We're not computers and robots, but we're sure pretending that we are. Right? So let's let the computers and robots be computers and robots, and then we can be people. I'm not uh, in denial that the transition might be a challenge,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But ultimately, AI is here to help us in a way that's perfectly matched for the consciousness change that's happening on the planet right now.
It is such a grounding perspective to hear you say how AI and technology is just taking off the load off our material mind and allowing us to go into the spirit mind or even hear the spirit mind louder. And I think very rare, or maybe you're the first that I've heard position it in that way. Uh, and I feel you when you say it because it does feel that way when I'm connecting with ChatGPT or any other AI, whether it is for visuals or any other support. It does feel like I am loading off something I don't need and giving me more space to connect with what I want to connect with. And that takes me to ask, can you tell us more about how can people reset and reconnect with spirit mind? How can we be more present with spirit mind? And what is spirit mind?
Yeah, what is spirit mind? Yeah, it's actually a very specific term. It comes from my wife, Yusami's teaching. And what it is the way she looks at the world is so simple and so powerful. And what she says is basically we each have two minds. So when you look at the energy behind things, energetically, everybody's operating two minds, kind of like having two translators. So we have a material mind that's great for the material world, and it's good at like counting things and remembering things and getting us from here to there and kind of planning and so on. It's perfect. We need this. This is important. And we have a spirit mind, which is about our soul. It knows like what are my true desires, what's really happening behind the scenes, not just the stuff that I can see with my eyes and ears and think with my brain, but what's actually happening on a deeper level. It's this universal consciousness that we all share. And it's funny because when I talk about it, I've taken so many people through the training that right away, and people do the same thing I did. It's like, okay, so, oh, I get it. So material mind is bad and spirit mind is good, and I should stop this one and start this one, right? And I'm like, okay, no, not that.
We need to take it back a notch.
It's like, so, okay, so no, material mind is about duality, good, bad, right, wrong, me, you. It's this dualistic physical world, right? And so spirit mind is not that. It's a third perspective. So it's not competing at all with material mind. In fact, the kind of the unusual goal, and to your question, the unusual goal of this teaching, this practice is to let your material mind, that's usually kind of going out to the extremes and getting like, oh, I'm excited, or oh, things are terrible. It's like, it loves getting out to the extremes, the drama, is to let it kind of calm down and go to the middle. Like all of a sudden, ooh, there's a different dimension here. There's actually something up there I never noticed before. And so like, boom, you start going up into that space. And it's like, whoa, from this elevated consciousness, now I have perspective. I can see all of it. I can see what would have been with the quote good and the quote bad, and I can see that it's actually no different. Like the judgment is not there. All of a sudden, everything just is what it is. I'm dealing in this space of pure potential and energy, and from this space, everything is amazing. There's no judgment, just this universal love, and there's an acceptance, or it's not even acceptance because it's just seeing things as they actually are. And it doesn't take away that there's pain and suffering and things that feel good and feel bad. Like that, it doesn't change any of that. But having this other perspective is, it's like instead of being like this, you're like this. Like, oh, I'm not just stuck in the little problem that that's everywhere I look. It's like it's this photo. It's like, oh, this is here. It's here. The world is this way, this way, this way. And you're like, suddenly you start to get some distance. It's like, whoa, oh, got it. That was just one of my beliefs. Everything opens
Wow.
up. How to do that? I mean, basically, how to do it is about just being present in the moment. Finding right now, it does help to kind of let that analyzer turn down so you can get kind of into the center place. But with practice, it gets easier and easier. And all of a sudden, you start to notice, like, I was walking the dog, and I'm like, it didn't occur to me even. I was just enjoying it so much. And later, kind of at the end of the walk, it occurred to me, oh, this is different than what I used to experience. I've changed. Ah, isn't that wonderful?
In your courses, I've managed to learn these tools, especially now when you were mentioning analyzer down
Yeah.
and the tool of the flower, the rose. Many of those tools until today, and I've been practicing your tools for 5 years, remain with me, remain in my subconscious mind because they are felt, not just practiced. So when they are practiced, they are felt. And I think that is the most powerful thing that is received to our depth. That not only have I learned this from you, but now I feel it and I can do it myself. Even the cleansing of your space or all of that. So the courses that you deliver are very powerful and very simple that the human mind can truly fathom. And they just have to be rooted in belief that it is working.
Yeah, and there's I'm real big on not just beliefs. I want to have people to open their beliefs, but
Mm,
have experiences too. Like, don't believe something because I told you. Don't believe something
mm,
because your friend got results. Try something. Try it for yourself. Then you'll know. Like you're saying, like you can feel it. You've used these
mm.
tools, energy tools, and they worked for you. So that means they're true for you. It's great.
100%. And exactly, I've taken it and I've tried it in certain life situations, in certain meetings, in certain conversations, and that is when I can say that I deeply feel it, the practices. So yeah, definitely these tools are very important, and I think we can tap into them a bit more as we go along into our conversation. I would like to tap into the signs that we've lost mindfulness or we've lost presence. How do we bring ourselves back? So potentially, what are those tools that we can use?
Yeah, sure. So I think the signs that we're not present. Everybody has their different tells, right? So you just kind of have to get to know yourself. And
Mm,
it's probably the things that you don't like about yourself, or that you judge about yourself. These are the things that are usually, taking us away from being present. So for like me, when I've, over the years, one that's come up many times is I'll get frustrated that something's not perfect or it's not the way I wanted, or I asked for something and got something else, and like it can go from frustration to just anger. And for a long time, I just tried to pretend I wasn't like that. I was like, I don't want to be that person. It's not, I like the other part of my personality that's kind of really easygoing and kind. But, you can't really deny who you are, right? So forever, at some point, some point, if you want to grow, it's much more authentic, and everybody else knows anyway, so you might as well admit it. We're not really fooling anybody but ourselves. So once I started to say it's okay, right? I have parts of me that I want to change, and that's okay because I'm here, I'm alive, I'm growing, there's opportunity. And as soon as we stop judging ourselves, then we're able to start to see it. I'm able to start to see, oh, I'm getting triggered, I'm getting angry. So then I might reach for one of my energy tools. I might say, I'm gonna ground myself and be present in the moment, or like you said, I'm gonna put up a rose in front of me and kind of
mm,
give myself a little space so I feel like I've got my own space. Or I might just breathe and I just touch something, and be like, okay, I have a body, I'm here, like anything to kind of bring me back into the present moment and a pattern interrupt so that I can, instead of chasing my emotions and my feelings like this, I'm I'm both the actor and the director. So I'm still
mm,
acting, I'm still getting upset, whatever, but I'm also the director. I've got this other perspective where I'm
mm,
noticing myself. Oh, look, I'm getting excited. Ooh, look, I'm getting angry. Ooh, look. So I start to I can start to see that. And then because I'm playing these two roles, I've got these two minds. I don't have to
mm,
say, oh, that part of me is bad anymore. I can just say, hey, that part of me that's getting really excited, want to come back over here to the grounded, fun space in the center.
mm.
And then it's it and the more you play with energy tools, the more you play with awareness and consciousness, the easier and easier it gets. It just kind of integrates into your daily life, and I love that. It's kind of this stealth way of growing. Yeah.
I feel like in the corporate world, we have a lot of leaders or even employees that are in the management kind of departments under constant pressure. Um, what practical energy shifts helps maintain presence for them without losing performance of their leadership?
A couple answers come to mind. So, oftentimes the stress, whether it's leadership or even at any place in an organization, is coming from the list of things that you feel like you have to do, and the that you don't quite have enough time to do all those things, or in the way that you'd like to do them, right?
Mm.
So this is where a lot of the stress comes from, and it seems funny, but the best advice I've got for this came from my guides years ago, when I was first moved living in Sedona after my software career, and I was meditating every morning, talking to my guides and tuning in, and there's one time we were doing that exercise, make the list of all the things you think you have to do. And so I made the list, and then I said, okay, great, this is really going to help. I've got a concrete list. What's next? And they said, every day you're going to cross 2 things off that list, but here's the kicker: whether you do them or not. I'm like, what? I can't cross things off that list. These are all must-haves. And they're like, no, they aren't. This is the list of things you think that need to happen. So I tried it. It's like at the end of the day, I just asked myself, okay, of the ultra important things that I absolutely have to do that didn't get done yet, which 2 should I cross off the list? And always I would notice 2, and I'm like, I would just kind of like pretend, hope nobody notices, and I would just cross them off, and no problem. No problem at all. This really works. And it's because it's a pattern interrupt. It's a pattern interrupt on that part of you that believes you're stuck and that you're in the space of scarcity. There's not enough time to do all the things that are required of you. So you just interrupt that, right? And you start crossing things off that list. Don't worry if it was super important, it'll come back all by itself. So some kind of energetic pattern interrupt like that is the best way to kind of break that habit. Also, because it's kind of absurd, it's fun, right? So it takes something that was like serious and really important, and all of a sudden you've poked a little hole in it and you've made it something kind of curious instead of serious, and kind of ridiculous, if you will. It's fun. Suddenly, this kind of experimentation just takes you out of that space of feeling stuck and blocked, like you can't move forward.
There's a lot of discussions on employees struggling with their managers, with their mental health, with their potentially purpose of why they're there. So there's 2 different kind of directions in that question. So a lot of employees are struggling with managers and their purpose in the role, and struggling with managers and how they're being treated. How can organizations uplift that kind of conversation within the corporate environment?
Yeah, good question. So if somebody's struggling with their management, maybe I can think back to when I've struggled with my management. In the software world, I didn't really do well with being managed. For maybe one day, I became a manager because my boss kind of gave me the ultimatum. She said, you either have to be a manager or have a manager. You can't avoid both of those. And so I was like, okay, sounds like I have to be a manager. And then the next day I was like, forget it. Unless you want me to fire everybody because I think they're incompetent, then I'm just not the person to be a manager. Right? But she said, no, we don't want that. And but the struggle I had was mostly like a battle of egos, right? So it was me feeling like I knew what was best for me, and that the manager wasn't really tuned into what was best for me. And I didn't understand at the time that this is probably normal, that the manager was seeing a higher level perspective. They were seeing what's not just good for this one employee, but for the group, for the company, in general. There's a lot happening that isn't seen at an employee level, right? So what helped and what you can try is giving a little bit of that perspective. Like, I know that a lot of management is about sort of protecting people from the higher level discussions, but that also creates this confusion that you're not being listened to, not being cared about. When I was at Sun Microsystems, and for about 10 years, and we had it was when things were really booming, right? Sun eventually got eaten by Oracle, but things were really booming. Things were really good. Everybody's getting big bonuses every year. We had all these great benefits, and then we started to have a bad year, right? One year there were no bonuses. They took away our Wednesday donuts. They were like, there were things that stopped, and people were really upset. And I remember the CEO came on, and he said something really important. And he said, remember those bonuses? Those are about profit share. We all did really good. There was extra money, so we're sharing it with you. This year, we're down like by billions, and I haven't asked any of you to give any of that money back. Right? And all of a sudden people are like, oh, I just, I was only seeing my perspective. I didn't
Mm.
understand that management has more to uh, think
A
about,
bigger picture.
that bigger picture. And but suddenly when he included me, I didn't feel bad. I didn't feel like he was saying something wrong with me. I just like, oh, that helped me understand the bigger picture.
And what type of modalities or sessions can corporates introduce within their system that can bring that sort of perspective shifts, empathy building, and compassion within the workspace between managers, employees, and the purpose that they all feel within their roles?
Yeah. For that one, probably the biggest thing is going to be, if I was to give a tool from the energy tools, I would say working with the rows, working with boundaries.
Mm.
So most people at work are struggling with boundaries. So energetically, there's either they're saying yes to things they don't want to say yes to,
Mm.
or they're not asking for what they need, or they're trying to trying to fit who they think they should be. Like in some
Mm.
way, they're just not being authentic and communicating clearly. And it's very hard to change it on a behavioral level. Like if you try to teach somebody about boundaries and teach them about communication and so on, some of that's going to go in, to the analyzer, and they're going to think about it and maybe be able to pass the tests that you gave them about it. But it probably isn't going to change their behavior very much because we're talking about an energy problem. So that's a place where energy can really help. Like you can teach people, okay, so even the basics like uh, how to get really grounded, how to be present in your body. All of a sudden, you start to notice, oh, why am I saying yes all the time to that? I don't even want to do that, and I don't have to. Somebody else could do it. Oh, okay. Self-awareness. So
Mm.
next time the boss asks him to say, actually would prefer not to do that. Is that okay? And the boss like, sure. I thought you liked it because you always said yes. You're like, yeah, well, great. Okay. Sorted that out. Boundary issue. Uh, Now I'm gonna, I'm gonna start using. I'm gonna keep grounding more because hey, that worked pretty good. When I talk to somebody at work that I'm struggling with, I'm going to learn how to like put up a little energetic boundary between us so that I'm catching their words, but I'm not catching their energy. So that I'm learning like how things work energetically and communicating on that level.
Mm. Mm.
But, energy work is really interesting because even if you don't fully believe it, if you play with it and experiment with it, you'll see results. Once you start seeing results, you're going to want to do more. And pretty soon you don't really care if it's quote true or not, right? Or if you can explain it because it's working. I feel good. I'm happier. Other people are happy. And maybe there's no test that I can hand people that they can check the boxes,
Yeah.
but the energy is flowing more and things are moving. Uh,
Mm.
that's that's what keeps an organization happy and moving. It's not about the knowledge that we have.
What's the truth about being human that we all feel but rarely say out loud?
What's the truth about being human that we all feel but rarely say out loud? Uh, Probably that we're all very self-centered, right? And and that's okay. Like it's okay to want to take care of yourself. It's okay to think about yourself, as long as it's not exclusive. As long as you're also considering other people too.
Others.
But honestly, even the word self-centered, we've made it a bad word. But where else should I be centered? I should be
Mm.
centered outside of myself. I should be centered in somebody else. No, of course I should be centered because this is the only part of me that's localized in time and space is this body. The rest of me is out just everywhere, right? But this is where I am centered right now. That's why I have a body. So so it's okay. Like so I'd say yeah, it's okay to say, hey, I'm self-centered. I'm a little selfish sometimes. But I also care deeply about other people. And I hope that in taking care of myself will help me be kinder to other people too. It doesn't have to be a either or.
Yeah. Do you think people need to strictly find or potentially define their purpose in life, especially for high achievers who are worried about being on the right path? Or do you think purpose is a thing?
I think purpose is a fluid thing. So I think purpose is something that we have in this moment. Sometimes it's for a season, sometimes it's for years or a lifetime, sometimes it's just for a few moments. This idea that there's a life purpose, that it's something super important that you have to do in this life, your spirit is like counting on you to do, but you don't know what it is, and nobody gave any clues, and you're supposed to like guess, and if you make a mistake, it's like you wasted your whole life. This is a terrible setup. This is it's not true. Energetically, there's just none of that. Like the divine is not judging you for what you're doing, not doing, where you should or shouldn't go. That's not happening at all. This is just our analytical mind kind of making this stuff
Mm.
up. So yeah, so that is just a recipe for unhappiness. Try to put that aside and then ask, like, uh, in this situation, in this moment, or this year, in this job, even, what's my purpose? What gets me excited? What do I want to do? What do I want to achieve? What's my true desire right now? Let that be something you lean into, but don't get stuck to it. Like, it might change. When I say what's my true desire, it's a little tricky too, because most people, if you ask them what they want, they're going to look around them at other people that they think are happier than them and tell you
Mm.
what that person has. Right. And that's not what I'm talking about. Right. So, and I've done that. That's why I say it is, if you try to be like somebody else, uh, like people do, they say, oh, I wish I was more like you, Jeffrey. I wish I was, quitting my job and going into energy healing and doing the things you've done. And I always say, caution, like, don't try to be like me, because probably what you admire about me is that I did what I wanted, right? And I was being myself. And so if you're being like me, you're not being like me. Because to be like me, you need to be yourself. You just tune in, like, what do you actually want? Even if it's completely ridiculous and everybody says it's not the right thing. Believe me, I've heard that a lot. And follow what you want, and that's where you're going to find fulfillment. That's where you're going to. That's the direction to go. To put it like, I talk a lot, but to put it in really simple words, I asked my wife Usami when we were first together. Uh, I was asking her, what's your purpose? What's your mission in life? And first, she was looking at me like that's the most ridiculous question ever, because she doesn't operate that way. But then she said, that's really easy. My purpose is to make happy memories. I was
Mm.
like, ooh, good one. That kind of like that probably works for everybody.
I love that. I feel like our collective purpose is to serve, but I feel like on an individual level, we all have to find our fulfillment of how we will serve each other and the world. I feel like when you put purpose on yourself alone, that is heavy, and as you said, a path to kind of unhappiness, because purpose is a collective thing. It's not an individualistic thing, in my opinion, or in my journey today. We are all here
Yeah.
to serve, and we just need to choose what fulfills us and in which direction are we serving to bring this kind of fulfillment and satisfaction and gratitude into our everyday life.
I totally agree with that. And then from that uh, feeling of fulfillment, uh, success is going to arise
Exactly.
in a way
Exactly.
that's unique to you.
Exactly. And you often describe life as a spiritual workshop. What does that look like in practice when everything today feels urgent?
Okay, yeah. So yeah, the spiritual workshop, every day is your spiritual workshop, is that part of lifting up above, kind of out of the noise, out of the thoughts, and being able to observe. And from that space, everything is really fascinating.
Mm,
Even when things are difficult, it's fascinating. It's interesting. The energy, the
mm,
consciousness behind it is really interesting. And I don't know what else to say there. That's probably the most uh, powerful place to be. There's something that I do at the end of the year. I like to sit down, meditate a little bit, kind of tune in, and ask myself, where was I a year ago? And so I'll look back, and every time I do this, I'll see things that were like, fantastic that happened this year. But I'll also notice that, wow, a year ago, I actually thought this thing was really important. I was
mm,
really focused on, this little thing. It was super important to me. And now I realize it's actually not important at all. And I've kind of chuckled at myself. I can't believe I was doing that or thinking that. And, but I also know that next year I'll be looking back at now doing the same thing. So
mm.
whatever I'm thinking is important now, whatever is like, uh, whatever sort of enlightened state I think I've reached next year or the year after, I'll be looking back, kind of chuckling at myself. you know? and and that means that I'm learning, I'm growing. That's what I mean by like, life, everyday life is the workshop. You don't have to go take a class. You don't have to go get certified. Everything you need to learn and grow is coming
Mm,
every day. Everything you need to feel fulfilled is coming all the time. You don't have to consciously manifest every step of the way. I mean, you
mm,
can. Manifesting's fun, but it's also very slow if you're going to do it all yourself. you know?
mm.
So
Jeffrey, if you could leave one message that echoes louder in the world, what would that be?
I would say love will find you.
Wow.
And you don't have to chase, and that applies just across the board.
Jeffrey, thank you so much for joining us here on Louder by Exhale. We truly, truly appreciate your wisdom, your words, your time, and we can't wait to see you here in person and deliver your work, your workshops, your message here live with corporates, with B2C events. We're super excited to have you here very soon.